Hi, everybody. Welcome on Ideas Matter. This is Bobby welcoming you on this channel. Today, we want to talk about our African American brothers and sisters. We have noticed with a lot of kind of dismay, we've noticed a lot with a lot of disappointment that a lot of our African brothers and sisters, both at home and even abroad, especially the young ones, those who were born around the 80s or in the 90s, the young ones, a lot of them deny their African roots or their African origins. So today we want to talk about that. Reasons why some African Americans deny their African roots or their African origin. And sometimes even some Africans who are living abroad, we're not talking of the descendants, we're talking of Africans who boarded that flight from Africa and they moved to other countries. Some of them, some of them deny the African root. They say, I am not African, I'm not black. Even though when you look at them, they look black. Their parents are all living in Africa. Their brothers and their sisters are living there. They will be claiming, I am from this place, I'm from that place, I'm from Israel, I'm from Switzerland, all of this just makes us look like fools. Because you say you are from Israel, or you're from Switzerland, you're from America, you're from this. Does that change who you are, how the world perceives you as a black man? Or do you think that because you say you're from this place or from that, imagine somebody saying you're from Israel. Look at what the Israeli president threatening black people every day. They are going to deport them, and they're treating some even being killed. So because you say you're from Israel, you pack your luggage and just move to Israel, and the president of Israel will just say, okay, because this guy says, or this lady says she's from Israel, even though he or she has nothing to prove, we should accept him as an Israeli. It's some kind of madness or what, I don't understand sometimes. When you pack your luggage, you want to go home. Where do you go? You're traveling to Africa where your parents are. So, our focus today is on our African American brothers and sisters who are denied, a lot of them, who deny their African roots. I want to tell you guys, listen to Minister Farrakhan. Listen to Dr. Omar. I don't know how many of us listen to these two people. Minister Farrakhan, who is the only man standing now. Listen to him. A lot of our brothers and sisters from the States, they deny, some of them, in fact, I shouldn't say a lot of them, some of them deny their African roots. Probably, because of that shameful history of slavery and slave trade. Because of that shameful history of rape, colonization of Africa. In fact, a great chunk of Africa, if not all, was colonized. True. But you can never deny who you are. You cannot run away from your history. You cannot run away from your roots. Doing that is deny yourself who you are. You can't run away from your history. Some of them say they don't have anything to do with the African roots. True. Sometimes because, some of them, their parents, especially their mothers, their great-grandparents were raped during slavery and slave trade, who did not know who their fathers were. Probably their mothers would not want to tell them the exact thing. The fact that the black people in America were told they don't have history, they don't have a history. Is there any human being with no history? And you believe that? So they hide all these things, creating that false myth, the false American Indian myth. Just confuse you, saying that you came from India. You do not come from Africa. You came from this, you came from that place. It's just a confusion. If you go to India, you'll find Indian Africans living in India. So you ask, if you want to say you're from India, then where did they come from? If you ask them, they are saying that their descendants that are from Africa. They look like you and me. All this, if you look around, black people are spread almost all around the world because of this history, shameful history of slavery and slave trade. Of course, all countries, all continents, there were colonization. There was colonization. If you look in Europe, in some part of Europe, in Australia, Canada, Asia, and most part of Asia, in fact, a lot of countries were colonized. So, Africa was colonized the same. Just that a great chunk of Africa, if not all, was colonized. And this history, this shameful history of slavery, our great-grandparents selling their brothers and sisters into slavery, their cousins and so on. We want to beg you, our African-American brothers, just forgive those your African Americans who are living there, or the Africans who are living in America. There is nothing we can do. All we can do is come together, recognize ourselves by the common characteristics we share together, our common experiences around the world. When you go anywhere, how are you treated there? How am I treated there as an African or as an African? Or how are you treated in those places as an African American? Almost the same. So don't listen to what people telling you. You don't have a history. Your history points that you're from here, you're from there. You're disregarding your brothers and your sisters from other places, looking down on the African brothers. I saw a video and I felt so bad. An African American videoing an African working in America. I don't know, he seemed to be in a shop or in a supermarket, telling him, asking him, does he have a badge? What is his ID badge number? And just disgracing him on the media. Why are you following me around? Do you think I'm a thief? And this, and then take the video and put it online. What kind of life is this? Our brothers, what do we think we are doing to one another? So we have these common characteristics as Africans or as African American, because the way it's in our blood. Look at the way you shave your hair. Look at your dressing. Look at when you sing and dance. You play drums. Look at the way you play them. We don't look at all our community, black communities all around the world, the same, not developed. We don't promote each other. We don't develop ourselves. We so hate each other, jealous of envy. How many of you are doing like AKON? AKON has come to America many times as an African American. He's an example, an exemplary African American who has made his money, his wealth by himself and investing in Africa, providing electricity to millions and millions and millions of Africans. About 60-something million Africans. They use electricity because of AKON. AKON has come to Africa and to America, trying to tell you, invest in Africa. All of us can just work together. Listen, I've said in some of my videos here on my channel, Ideas Matter. Always try to subscribe them and listen. I've said on some of my videos, once the image of Africa changes, once Africa develops, because the way Africa is perceived as poor, people coming from that continent are seen as nothing, as poor. It's the same way you people there in America are not treated with some kind of respect. So when you disrespect your African brothers because you think they're coming from Africa, that is poor. Listen, let us put our hands together. Africa is facing the problem of leadership. If we can be able to help Africans solve this problem of leadership in whatever way we can, if we can help in such a way that Africa develops, once Africa has a different face in the international arena, in the international arena, the way the world perceives Africa, it will also change automatically. In fact, some of you would want to move back to Africa. So all this is because we are seeing Africa as poor as the way it is. We are one people. We can only identify ourselves as that. Whatever history they're teaching you to keep is just to divide us, divide you and your people, make you hate each other more, just to killing yourself. We have that characteristics that we hate ourselves. This thing should stop. We must start loving ourselves. We must start learning to stand by ourselves, produce our own, consume our own, develop our communities, help Africa develop its own continent, develop the countries in Africa. These are the things we can do. Because when you talk on different forums, or you talk online, You even make videos putting out there. Other races are laughing at you, laughing at us. We are confused. All this because they have succeeded to make us confused, to turn against each other, fighting one another, killing one another. Please, listen to Dr. Omar. Listen to Minister Farrakhan, the only man standing. I always refer to him as the only man standing. I hope one of those, they can come to, I know Dr. Omar has come to Africa before. You know, when you keep saying you are not from Africa, your roots are not from Africa, it's because of this shameful history of slavery and slave trade. Some of you deny. You denied until at some point when you had to go and do your DNA will show you're from, a lot of you are from West Africa, like Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, and some other parts of, in several other parts of Africa. So do your DNA if you want to deny it truly. Do your DNA and you will see for yourself. So when some of these African Americans, when they did that DNA and it showed that they were from Africa, that was when they confronted their parents, confronted especially their mothers, who now spoke the truth. We do not want to tell you because a lot of us gave birth to your ancestors, through this rape. So, but then you cannot run away from your history. It's only by accepting your history the way it is. Work hard to change it. That's the only thing. So we should identify ourselves by our common experiences. That's the only thing that can uplift us. We need to work together, stand as one. If one person is falling down, it means all of us have fallen. Let us fall and rise together. That's the only way we can be strong. We can build one another, support one another, stand by each other. Once our own image as black people, once our own image as that continent, Africa, as the different countries in Africa, changes, you will be perceived differently. Because that respect, which is lacking now because of the lack of development, being a third world continent or third world countries in Africa. So look at the AU. I don't know what, as that continental governing body, I don't know what the AU is there for. So we see, we are lacking in so many areas that we need to work together, support one another, stand by one another, by each other. That's the only way. That's the only way forward. So I hope you guys will listen. Please, we give out all these messages. It shouldn't go for nothing. We subscribe to encourage us, those of us who have decided to put out our faces out there, to talk to each other so we can educate ourselves. Subscribe some of these videos. We share them. Make your comments. We must not always be right. This is Ideas Matter channel. We cannot, sometimes you may have your own opinion. So there's a comment box under there. There's a comment box. Go check under there and make your comment, what you feel, what you think. That is what will encourage us. So we can only support one another, stand by each other. We cannot afford to go against one another. Our communities so underdeveloped, so backwards. We must change. Let us learn to support one another, encourage one another, support the businesses of our people, invest in our communities, take care of our people. Our people have suffered enough. We cannot afford go in that direction anymore. Please, let us change. Thank you for watching.